in the city has damage to their house from the storm, I would ask them to please email em@petersburg-va.org. Again, that is em-petersburg em@petersburg-va.org. We're compiling that preliminary damage assessment to talk about where we go from here. Any questions for me at all at this time?
Chief, feel like some of the progress index seems to be the trouble spots right now that your crew is focusing on.
Again, we're still focusing on the Old Town area by the river, as the mayor said, and we're keeping an eye out on those apartment buildings and such down at there at Woodney.
If you hear them, I know you said you're working on this assessment. You gave an idea how much it's going to run into?
Again, I don't want to give a preliminary number yet. We have teams coming in, Junior Department of Emergency Management, the governor's office. They're providing us resources. We'll have a much better idea, certainly by close of business tomorrow.
In terms of that damage assessments, does that also include vehicles? We heard some reports of people who have had their vehicles submerged since the water rose.
Yes, sir. This includes commercial, residential, public infrastructure. It is if you will, a complete damage assessment package.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to have our city manager come forward, March Altman.
Good afternoon, everybody. As the mayor indicated, I'm declaring a state of local emergency shortly. Sign the paperwork. You but one of rubber in this case of additional rain today. He drives vigilant. And had for issues overnight with EFPs of tile water, so you can say turn around on ground. Please be aware as that happens. We got additional resources coming in. You appreciate the governor and all of his ability to price the severity of the city. We will be not only looking at what's happened, so where we are today is, as you've indicated, you have an aging infrastructure, but we also have those pieces. So it isn't something that's occur. You had not just last night, we had Saturdays. I see that probably what I would venture to say with the 100-year storm, but of days leading into last night. You're probably missing well over 5. I think it's probably about 10 inches of rain like the river received, just overwhelming the system. And in that short period of time, the system cannot handle it, and it's just overwhelmed, but it begins to back up it. So we need to be vigilant all day long. We're going to be working towards long-term solutions, address these short-term issues. One of the issues about roads currently, Petersburg threat. You still have 2 roads closed, 460 between basically Pondry Apartments and Wagner, and you still have those Deacons. It's still closed. So we have those 2 roads. So some roads may be closed temporarily, but they're not water covered. We're opening them back up as we remove the vehicles and get the mud on the streets. We're up by the additional question.
March, will there then talk about possibly asking, was that rule going to be assistance?
Well, there hasn't been a federal emergency designation. So what we are going to do with the damage assessment, you have to collect all that information, and if it becomes available to be, you'll have it to be able to ask to make that request. But we'll work at it, collecting all that data.
In terms of the kind of the nature of the flooding, that we.
So we were talking earlier about what we would be traditionally experience as a normal summer thunderstorm, where we wouldn't get any kind of flood. What we're seeing here now is an extreme amount of rain. And it's not just yesterday, like I just said, it's Saturday, Sunday, but also leading up to Saturday, we had rain all throughout the week. So that's saturating the soil. So we're going to get rain today, and we can see the clouds in the distance. That soil is already saturated. So we're going to have additional flooding, some localized flooding as a result of that, because it's the systems and the ground being equal. But we're seeing an increase in intensity storms, certainly over the last years.
And one more follow-up to that, I know you mentioned that you were trying to work with the governor, trying to work with other partners kind of above the city to do as much infrastructure work as possible. Is there anything in the meantime that the city can do to help mitigate flooding, as far as maybe as debris removal and things of that nature for residents?
Well, we will be working today. We're out kind of doing assessment, and last night We're working on getting some free removal weaving and getting you contractors in to help it back. So that will help in the short term. And then we have plans to address our stormwater needs of it in the city. Long term, it's going to be a much longer. I would say if we had all the resources necessary at our disposal, funding and everything, we're still looking at many, many years, 10, 20 years to address all the stormwater needs in the community. It is decades worth of projects that have built up over time. And now we're in a position where we're going to start addressing these. We need to address these, and we're going to move forward with a positive plan to address those coming.
And is my final question for you, is there any kind of dollar amount that might be associated with that? You guys, even before the assessments,
I don't even want to begin to venture at a dollar number. I mean, it's going to be significant. We have in several projects now, individual projects that would be in the $2 to $3 and $5 million range. Imagine multiply that across the entire.
Were the preparations you guys did going into last night's storm, was that enough? And are you guys going to have to set up a revisit those compilation plans for future storms? Because like you mentioned, this rain was kind of uncustomary.
So I'll say this. I don't think you continue to prepare for at that bus. The intensity of the rain in a short period of time like it happened. That's almost what we were with. So you were ready for rail.
the sixth way to get ambulance center
Out of the city, get a rain all night long for an extended period of time. That makes it really difficult. So you sure to prepare and to have all the resources necessary. It's just unsolicited really fast. And in your reality, I would say our folks, KD, Fire, Public Works, additionally, our trained folks, Darius Mason and his crew, get a fantastic jobs rallying together and addressing issues in the community and supporting our citizens. If we did have some that we evacuated from the Woodyear apartments that we sheltered on some of the pat buses while we were ready for the borders to proceed. So we did a real, had a really good see.
And I think the biggest problem is that we have so much silt that's built up in the Appomattox in that harbor area. If the water can't get out the city, the water going to keep ponding up down on Old Street, River Street, because there's nowhere for that water to go. So we have a huge hill here. When it runs down, instead of it going directly to the river, you have tremendous dredging problems. And this is something that started back in the 90s when Rosalind Dance was mayor before she became delegate and senator. So she championed this for decades and was unable to get the Corps moving on this. So it's a bigger issue. So we're looking at, and now it's at least a $250 million type of operation to do what we need to do is down there for infrastructure, or get some sort of a dredge or harbor, not even the whole river, but just that harbor area unlocked. Right now, it's just an eel of water that sits there and it's not flowing in any direction. So that's kind of like the barrier between our drainage and the river and getting that water from down there.
And Mayor Pam, what would it take to get the funding to do that dredging project you mentioned?
Really, it takes more of the Appomattox moving up the list as far as being a priority, because right now you always are competing against the larger river fighters who ain't for the apply directly what's going on down in Norfolk and Badwater. So it's just saying that even though we don't have the commerce that the James have, but this is what's causing our major flood issues in Petersburg is because of the neglect of not dredging their river and getting their flow of water able to run out of the city instead of finding up internally. So the balance of where we get internally until we can get that water to flow out of that into the Appomattox. It's going to be a continuous problem. So we're looking at bringing on some public and private partners to hopefully work with the Corps in order to get some funding there to get this dredging done. So I know many years ago when the city was looking at it, it was back then it was supposed to a $50 million dredge back then, over 3 decades ago. So we can only imagine what the number is now, but that is really the biggest factor in us being able to properly get the water out of downtown to the Old Town River.
Some of the areas around more inland, like around Lake Pop, have always had issues with drainage. How are they faring in all of this right now?
Right, we're good.
So, we have areas that it's sort they had is and obviously they're to be impacted with both. Everybody's still to be at risk. So at work, and so they are said the real issue here is the old work from the bottom up. But there you go to we got to fix Sharp Dixie. Let's start the river, work our way back up to the sea. We'll deal with low price flooding issues, overall to address the issue. Have to have us a comprehensive approach working backwards and up the river into the community. You really open it up because what we do upstream, if we can't get out, it that really doesn't work. But we do have some localized issues in areas that we did have some response to. But overall, I think everything fared pretty well. And some of those.
I talked to some business owners over on West Bank Street. They said that they've had more flooding issues since the old DMV building came down. Do you know anything about that? Is that something that's impacting those businesses there?
I don't. Well, I would say I don't think it has the relationship to the old DOD coming through and coming down, and it's really the intensity of the storms that we've experienced over the last year. So that storm with the D&D building, I think, is probably last August, if I remember correctly. So we just seen the intensity. So if you go down, and I went down this morning, you can see that Brick House Run, which runs through the city, it's lacking probably at least a third of the drainage of the city comes through that area. So you have a massive area of the city, all that rainfall coming over one drainage area, one drainage basin. And then it comes down and it makes a 90-degree turn. So when it made that 90-degree turn last night, it was probably about 10 foot from the base of where the creek could be to the top of the drain of the wall that creek runs through. That's a cops probably get 12 foot even more water through there. That's not necessarily a function of the filling coming down. That's a function of the amount of rain that we had, the intensity of that rain over the past year, and really being up to last night, Saturday, Sunday, the Shaprosties. And so that work in is just absorbed into the ground. It's just running straight off into the trees that they're doing all their free. And out of all that part of the city, is the making more than a fur runs down to that one spot. That's caps.
There's always a question whenever we have trouble flooding about certain utensils at the wastewater treatment plants. Are you aware of any breaches or any issues that the treatment plants they have been experiencing as a result of Milano?
Not aware of any issue that they had in South Beach because they bumped the rain.
You've mainly said for residents to stay off the roads if it starts raining again later. Is there a place for people to get sandbags or any other kind of emergency stations where people can get things?
We're working on seeing what we do to set that up. Fortunately, what looks like now is Kari essentially experienced some rain struck around 2, maybe 2 to 5 today. We're forecasted right now. After that, it's going to tail off and then kind of dry out. So we're hoping you get through this after you still give the other side of West 401 and everything will bomb out. As Chief said, you have the email address that anybody you send any information and happy and submit requests. People will work in that industry piece of balls.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Like it.
Sure. I do have one question for Chief Rich. Everybody talk about turnaround, don't drown, the public awareness campaigns about not driving through standing water. You never know how deep it is. Obviously, you're going to have some people who are going to do regardless. But do you think all the awareness has helped maybe keep the injuries, them all has down to minimal?
And well, yep, please. Very bad to hear you classified and get the sense and information as to what these ship people and they basic how work. We always encourage our commuters not to drive with the hour, not to try to pass you up without what to be. That use of walk the power that step. You never know where that power line is falling down at rest. Make contact with what base with the air, but so we're doing our best to make sure that we're making everybody aware of us on the mission that we have. You're put answer about your up through it. Getting separated with it.
per se, passing the governor's message is still important.
Hope the governor's doing to monitor this. Is already come to his office, stand by, you know, Mary is my minister. For this, thank you for question, Step Secretary Sonny Daniels. We've been engaged this morning, as I've already done, the governor still presidency to the person by the mayor about resources being put there. We were in a meeting on the say the detail first already on that here. This is a Marlboro, the governor's office, and the IA's great stuff at that. It's a new player. It is say safely up.
And just to clarify one more time, note there's not been any reported injuries.
He hasn't had any reported major injuries. Okay, I think you had one firefighter that stepped on the nail during a rescue. So we're not going to recount that as being hurt. We're going to say we had a little mishap. But all in all, that guy's doing a fantastic job. He's been saying what everybody else people say, and I stay off of this for his biggest thanks around the rain times. Yeah, these guys are not even working. You should have been.
She movers in. How are your crews doing mentally, emotionally, and having to deal with this?
Excellent question. One thing I can tell you is Petersburg public safety is probably second to none. I couldn't be prouder of our guys. I know Chief Christian feels the same way. We're fully staffed. We're prepared. If something similar happened tonight, we're going to respond just as hard as Pat to read their last. They are. That's what they get paid to do, and they do a phenomenal job. I'm very blessed to be able to be in such a run-forward place.
Are you able to do anything to like help keep them from getting tired or overextended at some of these things, like changing shifts?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We work a 24-hour schedule, and so the shift yesterday, we called in a lot of overtime to assist. We staffed additional units in preparation. So we're doing the same thing now. We're at full staffing, and we have units on standby if we need to request more. Again, we're prepared. We're an all-cabinet agency, so no matter what happens tonight, we're ready.
Mayor Karen, just one more question. What are your next steps in hoping to maybe get some of this funding going to get these bubbles fixed?
The next steps is just having you all debate here today to really shine a light on the issues that we've had and the necessary infrastructure dollars that we need to really correct this problem. A lot of times, a lot of funding is reactive to the events that are happening now. So we will make that ask just like we do on state and federal level partners that we have, and hopefully we will have better luck in getting the necessary funding in order to keep these situations down to not occurring as much as they have in the past decade.
Mayor, have there been any issues reported at the carriage house floodings? I know, even on dry times they have terrible problems.
Right. Like the city manager says, Brick House runs right there, right through it. And it's the situation that we are monitoring right now. We haven't had any issues there, but they are definitely part of our long-term infrastructure upgrade plan is to channel that water away from going under the carriage house. So